Hey everybody, how's it going? I decided to take a break from doing the unit in-depth entry that I was going to do today to do a little rundown on codices as far as the past and present. Excuse me. I'm going to talk about quote-unquote modern codices, not the old stuff like Codex Imperialis or the Codex Angel of Death or the Codex Ultramarine codices, which I have. I just decided to use Codex Imperialis as the example. Because these are really old, back with war gear cards and stuff like that. Movement characteristics, or movement traits, I should say. Kind of like, Warhammer Fantasy with how you move according to your movement trait. But anyway, pretty much the oldest codex I'm going to talk about is stuff like the Dark Eldar Codex. So, the reason I'm doing this, I'm going to show you kind of how, in my opinion, the mindset of how the codices have changed, including special characters and stuff like that. These codices, the older ones, tend to be thinner, less impressive looking on the outside. Like if you compare the Dark Eldar Codex cover, which is still cool, to the the generation after it, or to the newest one, is generally not as eye-popping. It's more monotone almost and bland, just as an aesthetic thing. Also, the codex are thinner, not much in them aside from what you need to play the army. There's some fluff in there, some unit entries in there. They tend to be very small. Most fluff you get is little blurbs next to each unit entry as far as points, what they can take. And the special characters have a little blurb and then some quotes, and usually like a special mission type in the back, as well as a picture of the hobby section and how to paint the sample model. It's helpful. I'm not saying it's not, but being that the Dark Eldar Codex, I use this as the example of the ones I have because it's still the codex you need to use for Dark Eldar. They still sell it. You can still buy it. So if you're a newer player and you think the Dark Eldar are cool because you heard about them for some miracle, because your local game stores carry stuff, or you're actually seen a player play it, or you did your own research online, the codex is going to be very different on the inside than these codices, the last three. What I mean by that is you're going to have there's not going to be like a unit entry where it tells you the fluff, like a little fluff blurb for like tactical moves, for example, like in a Space Marine Codex, and special rules that they may have. And then in those newer codices, then there's a separate army list section which gives you the points and what they can take. The Dark Eldar codices and codices like this didn't have that. It just gave you one essentially big entry for each. Sometimes they gave a little blurb about the units before the actual unit entry. Most of the times they didn't. You got a little paragraph next to each little unit entry, and then the unit entries gave you your stat line, your point cost, the special rules they have, and what options they can take. And usually, especially for HQs, if they could take war gear options, they just say allowed to take war gear options, and you look at the war gear options page, the armory, to see what you can take, the point cost, and how many points you can give them, as well as what is one per army and whatnot. So it took a little bit more getting used to. From there, also the special characters in these codices at the time did have some, like example, the Incubi special character in Dark Eldar. They were essentially squad upgrade special characters, but few and far between, and mostly special circumstances. Then the next gen would be stuff like the Space Marine Codex here, or the Black Templars Codex, which is still viable, the Tau Codex. The majority of the codices still out. Tau, Tyranid, well, not the majority, I say half. Tau, Tyranid, Demon Hunter, Witch Hunter, Black Templar, they're also viable codices. Codices still the ones you have to use for that army, but they're in this, I would classify with this Space Marine one. A little bigger, a little bit more room for actual talking about Space Marines, tactical squads, for this example, Tech Marines, and the captains, and all the options. Essentially, they give you a more generalistic look at it, kind of like a paragraph of each, like a kind of a 2-page, maybe 3-page thing, and then it goes right into unit entry. Again, it has its own separate armory section, so as far as picking units and war gear options, it's the same as the old codex. It's a little bigger for more fluff background, a little bit bigger hobby section, more colorful pictures, more artwork. The special characters are a little different. As far as I've seen, like in all the ones that are out there now that I can think of offhand that are still used, none of them really had a squad upgrade character. So yeah, none of them really do. There are a couple. The special characters are sometimes only 2 or 3, if any. Like Tyrion has none in their current codex. Also, Necrons is an example of this type of codex. And then, but they have artwork, lots of art. Essentially, more stuff to read and learn about the army as well as playing it. And then we get to essentially the first and the beginnings of the new style codex that's out there. The Eldar and the Dark Angels are the example. The Dark Angel codex is closer, so I use this one as the example. These codices are completely revamped from the old ones. You have a complete entry beforehand. Before the army list entry, you have entry of all the units you can take, as well as special characters, giving you bigger fluff backgrounds, pictures, special rules are talked about there. And then you go into the army list section. Between there is the hobby section and the armory, but you don't have to look at that except for getting rules. In the army list section, give you the points for fielding a tactical squad, like 90 points for tactical squad, 100 points for a basic company master, to tell you what you have, what they get, the war gear they have, the special rules they may have, their stat line, and then the options they can take as far as more units or the war gear options. So all the war gear options are in the army list. You don't have to flip through the codex back and forth anymore in order to build a captain or to give your squads an upgrade, which is handy. It's very easier to read. It's a much easier codex to build an army with. You still have to kind of flip back and forth to find special rules and stuff like that, and war gear options, because some of the war gears, they refer to the land speeder entry, for example. But it's a much more organized as far as ease of making an army list fast and easier to follow. And if you're a new player, probably easier to read and make a list for as well. Again, being the Dark Angels and the Eldar and the Blood Angels were the beginnings of this. They kind of follow the old style codex as far as not many unit special characters, in my opinion. This is my opinion. I don't know what Games Workshop was thinking during this time, but you have that. And then you have what I really call their perfected, quote unquote, or their apex of how the new South codex. The Dark Angel, Eldar, and Blood Angels were kind of like the prototypes, the trial version, and you have the new versions, and represented here by Imperial Guard and Space Wolves. You really saw this come to their own. The Chaos Space Marine Codex was kind of the bridge, and then the Orcs and the Chaos Demon Codex, where they both have special characters and special unit upgrades, or it's essentially special characters for units. The Flamer has the Changeling, and the Orcs have, Boss Snickrot and stuff like that, and there's more. And then it's pretty much entered in full force with the Space Marine Codex got some, and it's become a general theme as new codices come out. There's special characters as well, more special characters and unit upgrade special characters. Same format as the Dark Angel, Eldar, and Blood Angel Codex, only they're a little bit bigger sometimes, a little bit thicker, still lots of artwork, lots of pictures, lots of ooh and ah to look at and to keep you reading, and a lot more fluff. So the big thing about these 3 types is that they're lots of fluff, lots of stuff to help you learn about your army more, which is cool. And again, the same format as the Dark Angels one, as far as the example goes. So it's pretty much a quick and very brief rundown of the codices, which I think explains why you see the trend they're going with more special characters being taken more often, and unit upgrade special characters as well. I think it's something that they kind of really decided to go with, starting with like the Orc Codex and the Chaos Demons Codex, which is why the ones made before that don't really have them at all. In my opinion, who knows, I'm probably completely wrong. But I just wanted to give you a brief rundown of how the codices have evolved in as far as I see it. We're probably going to do one for the Dark Angels as well. Like, more Dark Angel love, because I love the Dark Angels. But anyway, that's it for this. Unit Index Inquisitor will, of course, resume and hopefully be done this week, if not at the beginning of this weekend, so we can do a Codex Index Space Wolves after it. So, hope you've enjoyed this little random ramble. There we go. This little random ramble. And until next time, take it easy.